You're listening to the Deep Purple Podcast, a fan podcast about one of the most legendary bands of all time, Deep Purple. We take a look at the music, history, and people behind the band Deep Purple and beyond. Welcome to the Deep Purple Podcast, the first and only podcast devoted to one of the greatest bands in rock history, Deep Purple. Today's episode is episode number 166, BBC Sessions, June 1969. And coming to you from the white-bearded suburbs of Chicago, I'm your host, Nathan Beaudry.
And coming to you from the suburbs of Providence, I'm your co-host, John Salmonella Matola.
No, you don't. Do you have salmonella?
No.
I was going to say you're faring very well. You've been very chipper so far. So.
Yes, pre-show, I was giving no indications. No,
I'm dying from the inside.
I actually have the cough switch on and I'm crapping in my chair as we speak.
Oh man, I picked the wrong time to take a drink.
I didn't think it would make you laugh that much.
So violently disgusting.
No, I don't know how this happened. I was hanging out with one of my friends the other night, and we've known each other for a long time, and we get silly when we're together, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't know where we came up with this, but we were just like, we must have been talking about food or whatever. And we're just like, yeah, Sal. He goes, hey, my good friend downtown, Sal, Salmonella, how you doing? We started cracking up. And it's just like, and then we were like, yeah, it sounds like the name of a chef, Salmonella.
Salmonella.
Hey, I make it room temperature, just like my mama used to make. Nice and room temperature. How you doing?
Yikes.
Nothing better than a nice Italian stereotype. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness. I'm glad you don't have it.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm actually feeling very good, knock wood. So what's going on with you? What's going on with your big white beard, you old man?
I don't know. My beard, the whites in my beard increased at least doubled overnight one day. I don't know, maybe a few days ago. And I was like looking in the mirror and I'm like, and I'm not like, I don't give a shit. Like it's over for me. I don't care. But like,
it's over. It's over. Game over.
It's over for me. We're talking earlier. Like you asked how my diet was going. I'm like, it was an epic failure so far. But
oh, well.
So far, but hey, we can always turn it around tomorrow. But yeah, I looked in the mirror and I'm like, so I got like 50, like 100% increase in my gray hairs, and I'm like, it was so noticeable. I was like, what's going on? I thought, well, maybe it's just me, or maybe it's the light. And then like, I was out with Jen, and she took a selfie of us, and she's like, "Whoa, what's going on with your beard?" And I'm like, "Okay, it's not just me." So yeah, I don't know what happened. And then you asked if something spooked me here.
Yeah. Did you get spooked? What did you say? I saw a ring ding and was like, oh.
Yeah. And then your beard just went. Probably just eat it. I saw some kale and I was like, oh no.
The other way around, you're just like, you're supposed to be eating me.
Yeah. Bad news, but yeah. Other than that, it's like, I think it's super hot over there right now, right? By you, right?
Yeah, well, it actually, it was really weird because it was like, it got like epically hot and humid over the past couple of days, like 90, and like, it went from like March weather to like middle of July and like Washington, DC weather, like swamp ass hot. And then today it was like 70 and the humidity just leveled right out. So it was like this beautiful day. Good. So that's why I'm enclosed in the room right now, but I don't have like, 3 fans going and no shirt on. This is like, it's actually decent temperature around here.
Yeah, when it went for like a couple of weeks ago, it went in like 3 days, it went from 50 degrees.
Bit of a heat wave.
Which is like 10 degrees.
Oh, hang on, Nate.
Oh, well, what happened? Uh-oh. Did we lose you? Let's pause this here. Up here. All right. Yeah. So the other day it went from like 50 degrees here, which is about 10 degrees Celsius, to like 96, like 3 days later, which is like 36 degrees Celsius. So there's a big jump. And then now it's just we're having a cool kind of week, which is fine with me because it's still May as we
Yeah.
record this anyway. But by the time it comes out, it might be sweltering in the summer here because we're in the June sessions here, the end of the Mark I era live on the BBC. So we'll get into that
boy.
in a
Oh
little
boy.
bit. But right now, if you want to support the show, there's a few ways you can do it. One is leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Helps new people discover the show, or so I'm told. Also gets you a free spin on the old Flexitone, which is laying dormant here right now with its little damper on, so that I don't give away any free Flexitone. You got to give me the 5-star review before I start wailing away on that thing. You can buy some merch on our Etsy store. You become a patron on Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or on PayPal if you prefer that. And then you can also donate to us on Cash App using $DPPOD, DP Pod. You can send our money that way. And speaking of the wonderful people who donate us money, let's thank our executive level patrons coming in at the $25 Uncommon Man tier. We have Ovis Nakvi. At the £10 tier, Dr. Jill Brees. At the turn it up to $11 tier, Clay Wambacher, Frank Teelgard Mortensen, Alan Ain't Too Proud to Beg, and Mikkel Steen. And at the $10 Someone Came tier, Ryan M., Jeff Bryce, Victor Campos, Better Call Saul Evans, and Kev Roberts and his wonderful children, Matthew, Gareth, and Sarah. Thank you so much to all of you for your generous donations to the Deep Purple podcast. Got a patron update. We got a new patron last week, which actually this would have been 2 weeks ago because we're recording a little sequence here. But Percival Frequency writes in. So he says he was plugging his band Das Funkhaus, which you can find on Spotify, and Percival Frequency is his stage name. He's the bass player. He says, my first memory of Deep Purple is Smoke on the Water on an 8-track player in a 71 Chevy Nova. I like that. 3 years old and standing on the bench seat between my aunt and uncle. Well, we can relate to that. We were just talking about that recently, right? Just standing up when my mom was talking, standing up in the front seat.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Same uncle took me to me and my little bro to our first concert, Deep Purple Perfect Strangers at Merriweather Post in Columbia, Maryland. I think Blackfoot opened for them. We were at the show with Joyous Wolf. Those guys. Just let them try to be early Rod Stewart faces. By all means, mention my band anytime you think it's going to make me look good. Haha. So thank you, Percival Frequency. We appreciate your support and your donations here. I think I got it changed in the show notes here. I think I changed you to Percival. Yeah, you're Percival Frequency now. I just want to make sure. So yeah, appreciate that. If you're looking for similar like-minded podcasts, we did just lose a podcast from the network. That is our first podcast. So we want to thank Metal Gods. They decided to hang it up. They said, we're getting out of the podcasting game. They had a good time, a good run. So check out Metal Gods. All their back catalog will be up there if you want to check it out. Great guys. Wish them all the best. We'll see what new bands we have on the network. I don't have any of the links yet, but I will get it up. There is a Megadeth podcast starting by our good friend Jonathan and Greg, who is a true Gregadeth on Twitter.
Yes, those guys were a blast to talk to on the Maiden A to Z podcast. So I think the Megadeth pod with the two of them should be something else.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to guesting on it. They announced that I was going to be guesting on it before they asked me, but that was a safe bet because I'm definitely gonna, if they want to talk about Rust in Peace, I'm down. I'm gonna be.
You're their man. You're the guy.
So looking very much forward to that. Okay. So before we get into the main subject matter, we do have something we do need to review, and that is something we've been talking about for a little while here. On the show, the show has been around for 3 years now, and we've had so many different guests and topics and all that sort of stuff. And we talk every week about you wonderful patrons that help us out. People write in, they give us information, all that sort of stuff. And we wanted to kind of think of a way that we could honor people outside the patron group, people who have supported the show in other ways besides being a patron, and who have changed the face of the show and made positive contributions to the show. And so that's why we're going to do our first ever initiation into the Deep Purple Podcast Hall of Fame. So this is someone whose contributions to the show have gone beyond mere fiscal contributions. And I don't know. Are you ready? I don't even know how to do this here, but here we go. Let's kick it off with our official Hall of Fame introduction fanfare. The horn players are warming up. So our first entrant into the Hall of Fame this week. Here we are in June of 2022. And we're trying not to get distracted by the music.
I thought it was going to stop, and then you kept going.
No, it just keeps going. So our first entrant requires almost no introduction, and that is one Rich Shaler.
Hi-yo!
Welcome, Rich, to the initial entrant into the Hall of Fame. Rich has supported us early on from day one. He discovered the show. It started harassing us immediately on messages on Facebook. But you know, we grew a connection with Rich and a friendship with Rich over the years. He has helped us with information, putting us in contact with people, allowing us to meet guys in the band and have lunch with Roger Glover, for goodness sake. I mean, how do you beat that? But yeah, Rich is always there to also gives great feedback. Like if there's I could have hundreds of people listen to an episode and there'll be like one little audio issue, and Rich will be like, at 1 hour and 18 minutes this happens, and I'll be like going like, oh crap, thanks, I'm glad he got that. And then I can go and immediately fix it and then re-upload it so that it's not there for all time. Or you know, if Matola's belching all over the place, he'll let us know. But you know, I know early on, I mean, he must have been listening very early, because I remember early on when we were just really figuring out how to record the audio live and all that sort of stuff, and it was kind of hit or miss every week how we were going to do it. Now it's a little bit more of a science, not that it's perfect, but Rich would always give us feedback about like, oh, this was a little loud or this was a little quiet. And you know, while he's a tremendous ball buster, he also does it with a lot of love and support, and always makes it a funny thing, or will he'll razz us about something or whatever it is. But yeah, we appreciate his support of the show, his companionship on our recent trip to Florida, and yeah, just all around great guy. Anything to add, John? Yes.
I was going to do my trademark. Yes.
Yes. That's just John's favorite.
I agree.
Let Nate ramble for 2 straight minutes and then say yes.
Well, it's not as funny. It's not as funny when you plan it, you know. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, what can I say? I agree. Having like, I'm fortunate enough to live pretty much down the street from Rich, so I've been able to have a more like a consistent friendship with him. So he's just you know, great guy to, you know, text, hang out with. We go out for drinks, we're going out to dinner, hung out at each other's house. He helped me. I think he helped me like do some hide some wires or something in here. Like he helped me do some electrical work, some basic electrical work. Like when I was like struggling with that, you know, it was like down to go to the Dio movie when it was premiering. Like we've just done a lot of fun stuff. Not to already mention like the trip to Florida and, you know, other cool stuff. He'll just send all sorts of great like memes, videos, like not even Deep Purple related, just a lot of just interesting stuff, funny stuff, whatever's on his mind. So it's great to have him as a friend and great to have him in our lives. So that is why he is #1 inductee.
That's right. Well,
thank
you, Rich. Congratulations. I was like, what should we do for I was like, man, we should make him a t-shirt or something. I think he already has a t-shirt. I don't even know. We'll buy you a beer next time we see you. Maybe we'll be going. They just announced the 2023 Well, sort of.
Yes.
2023 is Deep Purple. So next time we see Deep Purple, I'll buy you. There were so many buyings of beers and meals when we were all together. That's like, who knows if any of that evened out. But
I don't know.
it's like that's always good. I'm glad. It's always good to be with a group of people who's just not keeping tabs, and it's just like, well, I'll buy this dinner and you buy that lunch, and I'll buy breakfast and I'll get you a beer and I'll get you a coffee. It's just all over the place. So
Well, see, the best part about hanging out with the both of you guys is that you guys are both dads. So you kind of like, he drove and like you were paying for stuff, and I'm just kind of sitting around being like just taking advantage
hey,
of
then why was I in the back seat? You should have been in the back seat.
That's right. Actually, well, because your parents dropped you off, so you were just
That's
you had that whole rep going the whole time.
I had that hanging over my head, so there was really there was no getting around it.
But yeah, that's Rich driving what was it, 4 hours from
like
from Fort Lauderdale to St. Pete. He drove the whole way, so it was like gotta give him props for that too, because I hate long car trips.
You can tell John's from Rhode Island when he says a 4-hour trip in the car is a long car trip.
No, 20 minutes is a long car trip.
Yeah, that's you pack an overnight bag. People listening to this, like from out west in the United States, are like, 4 hours?
Oh yeah, Rich only lives 20 minutes away, and he's like, "You're gonna come over," and I'm like, "All right, hang on, I gotta get ready. I gotta prepare for this." But
oh man.
Anyway.
So this week we're keeping, I think this is the third parter in this BBC Sessions thing. So these are you can go back and listen to the previous other two albums, but we're trying to debut them around the time of year they would have come out, and this is right around the time that this would have been recorded and released, which was towards the end of June of 1969, so 53 years ago this week basically. Deep Purple would have gone to the BBC and recorded this, and this is the interesting thing about this is it's the real end of Mark One. They wouldn't have been around much longer than this, only I don't know, a week, maybe two.
So wow, so this is very near the end.
Yes, we're looking very, very much at the end. So the beginning of the end was, and we've talked about this on the show before, but on June 4th, 1969, Ritchie and John went to see episode 6 in London. Ritchie jammed with them on the stage, and backstage they asked Ian Gillan to join Deep Purple. So it was a few days later that they recorded on the 7th, recorded at Delane Lee. They recorded Hallelujah with Ian and Roger, and Roger kind of agonized for overnight, about whether he got offered to be in the band, whether he should join, whether he should stay with episode 6. He didn't know what to do. And then he decided to join Deep Purple. And of course, Rod and Nick would not find this out until later. But at this point, they'd already recorded a single with these new guys. But what we're going to hear happened after that. So this is Mark One performing after the secret recording of Hallelujah. A couple weeks later, honestly, they go on the BBC. They record the songs we're going to listen to. They were on a couple of different shows that we'll listen to, and I guess we'll get into that after the show. But so yeah, that's kind of that, a little bit of the background of what we're going to listen to now. So to put it in perspective and thinking about like this is, it would be an interesting show actually later to do if there's a final Mark One bootleg that we could listen to if it's listenable. This stuff we're going to listen to tonight is very listenable. A lot of these BBC sessions sound great. But it'd be cool to see if there's like a full, like I could have probably researched it before this, but what's the latest Mark One bootleg out there of the latest show? Maybe it's the last show they played. I don't know. But if it's listenable, we could do that on the show for a future episode. But now we'll stick to this BBC sessions. Deep Purple live on the radio. And the first one is on a song called "Sounds Like Tony Brandon Show," which was recorded at BBC Studio 4. And they did 2 tracks on that episode. And we're going to listen to the first one now, if I can figure out how to switch my sharing after I'm done with the done with that fanfare I was just playing here. Let me
Yeah, I forgot to ask. Was that you? Did you record that?
Oh yes, I did. I got my trumpets and my trombones out. No, but I did record it. But yeah,
Uh,
they're not real trumpets or trombones.
I kind of guessed.
I was gonna, I was gonna look at like a royalty free, like fanfare sort of thing, but I was like, yeah, let's just make it Deep Purple related.
I mean, I could tell it was knocking at your back door, but John Lord, you are not.
What are you talking about?
Nor Don Airey.
Well, there's no organ on there. It's only horns. So it's a fanfare. All right. So where is it here? Okay. So the first, actually, I don't know if that's going to share the audio. First song that they did on this show, on the Sounds Like Tony Brandon show, was The Painter. So here we go.
Oh, nice. I love the song.
Must be like,
ooh, Rod's a little pitchy there.
Yeah, that first line had a clunker at the end. Who knows if he could have even hurt himself.
My sound quality is great. Richie's really working that wah-wah pedal.
He sure is. So pretty jammy for a 2-minute track, a 2-minute version of the song that they're doing.
Yeah.
I might just cut it off early because it's like a radio thing. But
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it was good sounding recording.
Yeah.
Rod wasn't doing it for me. He sounded like he was he's kind of couldn't find his key the whole time a little bit.
Yeah,
Well,
and who knows if they just plugged everything in and just started up, and he's not even able to hear himself. And you know how some of these things go.
Pitchy dog. He was pitchy.
Well, we heard them play something called Hey Bop or Rebop when we did the one back in January, and that was like a proto version of Painter. So that at this point they had gone to the studio, recorded it, and now they're doing a live version, and they reworked it a little bit, made it a little heavier, rewrote the lyrics, new title of the song. So totally reworked the song for the album and for the show. That's what you're kind of hearing right there. So they did one other track on this. This show, the Sounds Like Tony Brandon show. Sounds like Tony Brandon. And that is La Leña.
Where is it?
Oh. All right, folks. I'm going to let's try that again. I'm rusty here. We always record the same time basically every week, but sometimes it feels like it's been a really long time, and sometimes it feels like we just recorded yesterday. This is one of those times where it feels
Yeah.
like it's been like 3 months since we recorded, even though it's been just a week, just like
Yeah.
last time. So here we
Mm.
go. Sounds like Tony Brandon show. This one is called Lalania. If you're listening on the podcast feed, you'll get to hear that twice. A classic Donovan track.
When the sun goes to bed, that's the time you raise
Not having any issues on this song.
Mm.
That's your lot in life, Lalania. Can't blame ya, Lalania. Artie-tart.
Sounds great.
This is a really good version. I think I might like it better than the album version.
That's your lot in life, Lalania. Nobody blames ya, oh Lalania. Run your hand through your hair.
So these are both recorded on June 24th, 1969.
That's your lot in life, Lalania. I don't blame ya, oh Lalania.
It stinks because we love Rod and Nikki, and to think that they're just like the rest of the band was like, okay, well, we know we're getting rid of these guys. Kind of slummy. But hearing how good they sounded on like the Painter and how tight they were really getting, it really makes you wonder what would have happened if they continued on.
Yeah, right. It's probably one of the best covers they've ever done, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's really good.
Probably because it was the most straightforward. Like all those other ones from the first couple of albums were just all that weird crap and sound effects on them. Although I did like Help. I did like the version of Help. I always have.
Yeah, it's a good version.
I would have liked to hear it recorded like this kind of quality, BBC quality. Would have been interesting. Or maybe we have. I don't know.
Did they? I think they did do it on one of these. So it was fun. Speaking of Rich, I can't remember if he sent it to me or if I just saw it independently. But so as we're recording this, Deep Purple just played their first show with Simon McBride on guitar last night, and you know people were already like chiming in about like people are really complimentary. You know, usually it's just like finding any reason to be like, it's not the same, it's not what I'm used to. But people are really, I mean, from everything I heard, I mean, you heard it, he sounds great. Gillan sounds great. Somebody posted as like, you know, about the set list. A common complaint about the set list nowadays is that's always the same. You know, it's like the same basic set list with a lot of the same songs. They don't change much up, you know, because you know, they're I think we were talking to who was it we were talking to? Might have been Glenn when we were in Miami or in St. Petersburg about you know, like when they play like a casino or something, for example, there's like they give away so many free tickets as part of the thing, so they're expected to play certain songs, and you know, there's a business behind it that we may not be too privy to, so they can't exactly just go in there and just do all deep tracks. They have to play the big hits to get the people in there and all that sort of stuff. So there's more business to it than that. But someone was like, they should really throw in some more songs these days. Like they should play Burn or Stormbringer or Lalania. I was like, I could just imagine the band now like getting up there and playing Lalania. I don't even know if they ever played it with Gillan. They might have played it like really early on, but there's zero chance he's going to do a Mark III or Mark IV song. And then B, nobody's doing Lalania. Like, come on, get real.
That's so weird to throw that song in with the other
Burn,
one.
Stormbringer, and Lalania. Like even put those three in the same sentence is kind of odd.
Yeah, what would it be like if they said, yeah, they could do Burn, Stormbringer, or Getting Tighter? Like, yeah, all right. Yeah, good luck with that one either.
Yeah, somebody mentioned somebody had commented on it too. It's probably like Jerry Bloom or something. He was like, yeah, they're gonna do Breakfast in Bed too, you know, like like Fire in the Basement or something. You know, like it's just funny that, you know, people are never satisfied with, and I get it. I mean, I'd love to hear them do some different tracks, but Lalania is not going to be one of them, my friends. I'm just coming out there and I'm going to come out there and say it. I'm going to go out on a limb. Deep Purple has performed Lalania live for the last time. It was probably 53 years ago. This might have been it.
Yeah.
That we might have listened to the last time Deep Purple ever played Lalania, but it'd be interesting to show. If you know if Mark II ever did Lalania, let us know. It's very possible, but it's also possible they didn't. All right. So like we said, at this point, Gillan and Glover are in the band, even though they're not playing live with them. Simper and Evans do not know. June 30th rolls around and they go on another BBC show. This time it's the Chris Grant's Tasty Pop Sunday session, where they perform three songs. And if the first one sounds familiar, well, it's because we just listened to it. And they do another version of The Painter. Wait, is this even the right one? Must be. I think I labeled it wrong. So here we go. The Painter.
Right now, our first studio guests. The name being the Deep Purple.
Whoa, ringing that neck.
Beautiful number here for you on Sunday morning.
Yeah, it sounds like Richie's going a little more wild.
He's losing his mind.
It's entitled The Painter. All right, boys.
Rod's a little more on point on this one.
Yeah.
Like the announcer. All right, boys. All right, take it easy over there.
Yeah, Richie was really feeling it. I mean, you should imagine what this must have sounded like on a Sunday morning, coming out of like some little old lady turning on her BBC. Oh, what is this?
Yeah, she spit out her morning coffee.
Oh, tea.
Oh dear. Her monocle falls out.
She starts the thing out to warming up. She takes her first sip of tea and just spits it all over the place. What is this infernal racket?
those music videos like in the 80s where they're holding their ears like that and they can't figure out how to turn the knobs off, and then the
Yeah,
knob breaks and
they unplug it from the back, and it like it's still playing. It's like the
they
cradle
unplug it.
rock cradle of love video.
The band like kicks through the wall and they're playing live.
You know, the mom and dad are like, "You're not gonna listen to any of that music." They kick down the wall. Get out of
Yeah.
here, you old lady, you old bag.
Yeah, too bad, you old bag. I love that as an insult for an old lady. Shut up, you old bag. Like, I was thinking, like bag of what?
What? Yeah, what's the etymology of that? Like, where does that come from?
Like, I don't know. It's either there's you old bag, or there's also you old bat. Which, I mean, yeah, shut up, you old bat.
You old
But
bat.
you old bag, or you old hag.
You in England they say you old crone, which is pretty good too.
But yeah, bag is yeah, we'll have to look that up. Like, do they mean like an old handbag or like an old bag full of like crap or something? I don't know.
A whole bag of crap would be, I'd take it to a new level of rudeness. I just like old crone. Like I used to ever watch the show Blackadder?
I've definitely heard you and Paul talk about it back
Paul
in the
used to watch
day.
all the time. But there's like
Yeah.
one, I think it's one of the first episodes where he's like, it's set in medieval times, and he's the prince, and he's riding by on his horse, and he sees like these old women like around a cauldron, and some one of them says something to it, and he says something like, what did you say, you old crone? It's just funny to just dress her that way. But anyway, let's take a pause here and thank some of our core level patrons. You know what? I'm going to take it a step further. Let's thank all of our core level patrons, not just some of them.
Yeah,
Coming in at the $7.77 Keep It Warm Rat tier, we have Michael Vader. At the episode $6.66 tier, we have Steve Coldwell, Arthur Smith, Anton Glaving, Mike Catan, and Richard Fusey. And at the $6.65 Almost Evil tier, Kenny Wymore. Coming in at the $5.99 Nice Price tier, Fielding Fowler, Robert Smith, Peter from Illinois, Michael Bagford, and Carl Helberg. And at the $5 Moneylender tier, John Convery, German Heindel, Adrian Hernandez, Jesper Alman, Alexei the Perfect Stranger Slepikoff, James North, Mark Hodgetts, Will Porter, Zwapper the Electric Alchemist, and Tim Southern Cross Johnson. Oh, and of course, Percival Frequency. Thank you so much. First time coming in at that name. I'll previously thanked under a different name. So thank you, Percival, and all of our great patrons at the core level.
I like that name, Percival.
Percival
Sounds very like formal. You don't hear it. You don't hear it that often.
Yeah, it's more often you just kind of like a Percy sort of thing.
What
Also
was
a
that
character in Blackadder, Percy.
Was that like a name in like a Rodney Dangerfield movie? He's just like, my name is Percival Sweetwater.
Is that the name?
Oh no, wait a minute. Either it was something Rodney Dangerfield. Maybe it was in one of his stand-up or something like that. But oh no, I think it was I think he might have reused that name, because I think in like Back to School his secretary's name who took notes for him was Marge Sweetwater. But I've heard him do something before where he's like, oh, my name's Percival Sweetwater.
Maybe it was one of his
I don't know.
One of his like characters when his stage act or something.
Yeah. But yeah.
Percival Sweetwater. That's a good one.
Yes.
All right. So brings us to our next track, which is one of my all-time favorite Mark I songs. You know what that is?
It's not I'm So Glad, is it?
It is.
Oh God.
Well, hopefully it's a short version.
Mercifully.
It's gonna be like a 14-minute jam.
Oh God. No, it can't.
No,
don't jinx it.
All right. So next up, here they are again on BBC, Chris Grant's Tasty Pop Sunday Session.
A very nice little song.
It's only a few minutes.
I'm so glad it's been getting a lot of mileage on the Deep Purple podcast as of late.
Yeah, this is
He's getting a lot of backup vocal help on these. I wonder if that's Nikki.
yeah, probably.
The background vocals sound great.
Yeah. Yeah, chorus actually sounds pretty decent.
Ritchie probably would have been playing his Gibson.
Yep.
Very organy sound. Not really much distortion at all on it.
No.
Very early Mark I sound. Well, the album version of this is pretty long, right? But I think there's a big long intro into it.
Yeah. I think there's a middle part that's also really long too. Oh, backup vocals are really good on this. They really make this a lot better.
I can't tell if it's Nick or if it's Nikki and John. John would sometimes do backup vocals in the very early days.
Mm.
We know it's not Ritchie or Ian.
No.
Ah, there you go, Deep Purple.
That was good.
Oh, there you go, Deep
Surly announcer.
Oh, there you go.
That's a Deep Purple. Oh.
That might be the best version of that song I've heard.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I thought the Maze version was pretty good in comparison, but I don't know. Maybe it was just the recorded Deep Purple version, like the album one, that was kind of,
Yeah.
because this one sounded really good. It was tolerable. Either that, or I'm just like it's developing a Stockholm syndrome with it, and I'm starting to identify with it. I'm like, oh, it's not that bad, I guess.
In fact, I'm so glad I get to listen to it again. Maybe it's just growing on us. I don't think it's growing on me, but
Well, prior to this, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, the most that I've heard this version of this song was I heard Cream do it before. They had covered it on one of their early albums, and I want to say that I heard that before I had heard the Deep Purple version, because I think I was into Eric Clapton and Cream a little bit before, around the same time, but I feel like I'd heard the Cream version before. And so I mean, I never really thought it was like a great song or anything, but it's, that's where I knew it from. So I was aware of it. So I guess for a while I was like, oh, Deep Purple covered Cream.
Yeah, exactly. But they're all just stealing it from some old blues guy.
Yeah.
Usually, well, I guess not stealing it. They gave him credit for it. They're not like, oh, we wrote this.
Well, they did that too, but that's
they did. That's
neither here nor there anymore.
We could have a whole 9-part series on that alone. But okay, so they did one more track on June 30th, again on Chris Grant's Tasty Pop Sunday. Great name for a show. And it is spelled Sunday like the ice cream sundae.
Oh.
And this track would not surprise anybody to hear that they're playing. And that is, of course, Hush.
Now, Deep Purple. It's called Hush. All right, boys. Good sound, this one.
This,
I love
this
fucking
fucking
radio
guy.
guys. They're like, if there's no vocals in the song, I can just talk over it all I want.
You know, I could be like, my guys. Like, all
I
right.
think they view it like dead air if there's no vocals. They're like, I better say something. It's very awkward when it's just music.
Yeah.
As we sit here and talk over the music. See, we talk over the vocals too. We're indiscriminate. That's a nice little one. Like that. What? Where did that come from?
Did Rod just find Christ in the middle of this song? I think I picked the wrong song to play for my mom on the Mother's Day episode. She was
Yeah, I
like,
know, right? And I think Black Sabbath picked the wrong Deep Purple singer to recruit for their album.
I have never heard.
God is born again. I love
Rod put a little of his
himself.
Rod stank on it.
Rod stank.
So that's what he used to call himself, like when he go out after hours. What's
Rod
my name
Stank.
is Rod. Rod Stank. How you doing?
That reminds me of like one of the it sounds like one of the names of the guys in Bad News. Rod Stank.
I really need some context behind that Jesus line. Now I want to talk to Rod even more.
That's the main reason we want to interview him. We'll get him on the show. We'll just say, hey, why did you say I thought I heard Jesus call my name? And he answers and like, well, thanks for joining us, Rod. It's been great talking to you. We track him down after 40 years.
It's called Hush.
There he goes, talking over the...
That is the most puzzling thing I've ever heard. And I thought that like when Coverdale changed big black tires in
Yeah.
in Highway Star, like to something filthy. I thought that was the gold standard. Rod throwing Jesus in there for some odd reason. Maybe he knew. Maybe he was just like, he was looking. Gillan was over in the wings, and he was just shooting him a look like, yeah, I know what you're doing.
Maybe he's looking at the rest of the band. He's like, hallelujah, huh? You didn't think I'd know about that one? I'll give you something to say hallelujah about. Jesus himself.
He's just like, yeah, thought I heard Jesus calling my name, and he just like looks at him like, yeah, I know what you fuckers did. How do you like that?
Imagine if he just started throwing in shit from hallelujah.
We just started throwing in like religious references, and everybody's like, what is he doing? Like, I don't like Rod.
Man.
What? Oh man, that was thoroughly entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah, so Bad News was Vim Fuego, Den Dennis, Colin Grigson, and Spider Webb. But I think Rod Stank could have been one of those guys too. If they had a keyboard player, he'd be Rod Stank.
Rod Stank. I love it.
Rod Stank. Yeah, so that's the end of the BBC sessions for Mark 1.
Oh.
They have a second, it's a 2 CD set, and the second CD is all Mark 2 stuff. So, and the first part of it is just a few months after this. They Mark 2 goes back on the BBC and does all of these performances as well, although theirs are a little bit more like spaced out.
Mhm.
But it's they've got some great early versions of songs too, so of course we'll get to those one day. But that does conclude the Mark 1 session, and like I said, 4 days after this performance you just heard, they play their final show together. Mark 1 would play their final show and Simper and Evans would be uh, asked to leave the band, or told they were leaving the band,
Unceremoniously kicked to the curb.
kicked to the curb. And their last show was, of course, at the Top Rank Ballroom in Cardiff, Wales. And then their first show, Gillan Glover's first show, was uh, like a week later,
Wow.
less than a week later, at the Speakeasy in London. So it was not much of a transition period there.
Yeah.
They just got right back at it, and they were announced 2 days after Evans and Simper were fired. They announced Gillan and Glover joining, and they were right back at it with the live shows. So kind of cool. But as we record this, it's interesting because there's so much going on. Deep Purple, like I said, just played their first show in a while on the other side of the world. From they played the cruise here and a couple of shows, and then Whitesnake has been at it for about a week. And then I know Dead Daisies is rehearsing right now, so everybody is kind of getting back out. And Whitesnake is obviously going to be their farewell. This is part of the Deep Purple, quote, farewell tour, the long goodbye tour that's been going on for 5 years.
Hearing all good stuff.
Yeah, and Simon is sounding great on guitar. Whitesnake is got a 7-member lineup now with backing vocals and guitar and every other thing. So they're definitely new bass player and really changing it up, and looking forward to. Oh, and you know what we haven't talked about at all?
What?
And I think this happened since we last recorded about Whitesnake.
What?
You don't remember? What's happening with Whitesnake and us?
Oh, we're going. I'm like, what did Coverdale add, like an 8th member? Like, I don't know what you were talking about.
He has a trombone player now.
he's gonna play give me kindness.
Yeah. You haven't heard Still of the Night till you heard it with a trombone solo. Yeah, so September 1st, we're going to see them in Rosemont, Illinois. So this is a real early warning here, but we bought tickets right away. We got them. John's coming up again, just like we did right around the same exact time last year. We'll be in person, maybe do a couple of live shows here, see Whitesnake, do the whole thing. So I'm looking forward to it.
And at some point in August, I've been talking with Rich and the Gardeau about seeing them in East Providence, Rhode Island.
So you're going to have a warm up.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I definitely Rich and I were looking at a couple of different ones. He really wanted to see them in, there was a place in New Hampshire, which was I think an indoor venue. And I believe the East Providence one's an outdoor venue, which I don't think I've really heard of it. Unfortunately, the New Hampshire one falls like the earlier that week or the prior week. And it's just not a great time for me. I actually have some stuff coming up with my family. Will be home and then departing around that time, so it doesn't fall at a great time. Otherwise, I would have he was talking about let's just go up there for a day or two. Sounded like a great time. But I mean, if they're just right down the street too, the only thing is that gave us pause was that the East Providence show is general admission. And Rich was just like, I'm too old for that shit.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, me too. The GA thing does not appeal to me. But
tough. But aren't they actually headlining in Providence?
I think so. Yeah. The whole thing, when we first saw the advertisements for them, was really confusing because they're like, some of the shows, and I could be wrong, they are headlining, but some of them are with Scorpions, with Scorps as the headliners, and some of them aren't. And the opening act is this Swedish rock band, like all female rock band, Thunder Mother, who I had seen a few years ago on the Kiss Cruise Fest. And they were playing like this, like one of the small hotel ballrooms. They were doing like a midnight concert. Awesome show. One of the best shows that I had, like unexpected shows that I'd seen. They were just like do this real, just like heavy rock, and they're like really cool people too. We hung out with them at the pool and stuff, but there were people that had seen them like I guess prior, they were just like nuts over him and everything. And I'm just like, who are these people? They're going crazy over. And so, and I remember like a year or two ago, they had talked to us about, yeah, we're coming to America or something like that. But then, as COVID canceled it, and then they had done some dates like in Europe. But I mean, for me, that's a great bill. I mean, Scorpions, like honestly, you could take it or leave it. I mean, I'd seen them before. I think it's like support acts with like other bands, like in that same kind of musical family, like with I think we've talked about with Purple before, maybe like Dio, like other bands like that. So I mean, but I'd see them, but I wouldn't be going for them.
Yeah, I know so little about Scorpions that I mean, I would like to, I'll check them out, but
Yeah, I mean, they've just like they're one of those bands where they're in the same company as the bands that we like, but I've never really, I mean, there's nothing wrong with their music. I don't hate them. They even go along the same trajectory as like Whitesnake, Deep Purple, Judas Priest. They started off very kind of like rocky or almost proggy in the 70s, and then had their kind of 80s period, a couple of big hits, and then just kind of kept making albums, and now kind of touring as a legacy act. And it's I just never really got into them. So
well, Flight of the Rat Bat Blue Light sent me an email
mhm,
I don't know, about a week or so ago,
mhm,
just with all an idea about a bunch of Scorpions, all the Scorpions Deep Purple crossovers, which there are a lot. I
mhm.
did some really great research, and there's definitely enough for an episode there,
That's
at
cool.
least about that sort of stuff. But he says he's going to see them in August, so I'm not sure where he's at. If he's seeing them in August, he's got to be not too far from you, at least on the East Coast. There, probably somewhere. Or,
Yeah, depending on when in August. Yeah.
yeah. And I might be out there in August, actually.
Really?
I don't think I'll be out there at the time of the show, though. I could probably sneak out for a quick White Snake show, but I think I'll probably be back here by then. But that's
Yeah.
okay. We can yeah, I'll have to get a full report from you, Rich, and the Gardeau. Um,
The guard the Gardeau said that he might try and talk the Roback into coming with us too.
it'd be a real bummer to have to miss that, but
Mm. So who knows? So well, either way, even if you're not out here for White Snake, it'd be good to have you back here so you could hang out with us, you bum.
yeah, I'll have a lot of family obligations, but hopefully we can see each other for something at some point.
Well, if you're out here and Rich and I find out, we're making you do it.
Yes, well, you'll have to fight with my family as well, who I haven't been out to visit in like 4 years. So
Well, they'll have to contend with the co-host and the Hall of Famer. So we'll see
that's
how that
true.
goes.
That is very true. I've seen the co-host in the Hall of Famer much more recently than a lot of my family, apart from my
Mm,
parents.
true, true.
Um,
All right, we'll give them first dibs, but you
yeah,
know,
exactly. But yeah, we'll definitely have to make something happen. I got to take a look at those dates again, because that would be very interesting. If I think it's earlier though, because that'd be cool if I could go to East. Can't remember the last time I went to East Providence.
yeah, me neither. It's
'Cause
like,
why would you?
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
all right. So before we close it up, it's a shorter episode this week, but that's okay. We can do short episodes. Before we close
Yeah.
it up, and get on to our final thoughts here. I always feel it's kind of sad saying goodbye to Mark One, even though they keep coming back. We keep doing more episodes on them.
Well, yeah,
It's
the
always
last time you were just like, "Oh, we're running out of stuff to do with Rod," and then you told me about the episode, and I was just like, "Yeah, more Rod, more Rod." And then I thought, like, I shouldn't yell that, because if somebody takes it out of context, then it's probably not going to be good. But but I always like more Rod. Um,
more Rod Stank.
but yeah, see, there's always ways that like Rod Evans creeps back in
Yep.
and steals our heart with that crooning soulful voice of his.
It's like that Harrison Ford ad lib line from Indiana Jones, where he's like I'm like a bad penny. I always turn up. It's like doesn't even really mean anything. But that's Rod Evans. I'm like a bad penny. I always turn up. Um, but
And we love it.
before we turn up or turn out or do whatever we do, we are going to thank our foundation level patrons. Coming in at the $3.33 halfway to evil tier, we have Raf Calf. At the $3 Nobody's Perfect tier, Peter Gardot, Ian DeRosier, Mark Roback, Duncan Leask, Stuart McCord, Flight of the Rat Bat Blue Light, Ivan Fjellbu, Runar Simonson, and JJ Stenard. And at the $1 made up name tier, the I'm Not Glad You're So Drippy, Leaky Mausoleum, Stephen Somerville, the Concerto 1999 Fanatic, Spike the Rock Cat, Hank the Tank, Private Eyes, Ashen Lionel, Spike's Mom, and Blackmore's Tights. Thank you so much to all of you for your support of the Deep Purple podcast.
What? I was thinking of something, and you went. You like started mumbling.
I started.
Thanks for your support.
I trailed off, maybe.
No, because I thought you were done, so I interrupted, and you were like, "You were."
I was being too polite. I was going to let you interrupt me.
Well, what happened? What happened to Sugar Tits?
They changed it to the more family-friendly Spike's Mom.
Oh, okay. Sorry about Sugar Tits, everybody.
In order to make it more user or more family-friendly, you're going to say it 3 times per episode instead of once.
Yeah, if you look in the mirror and say Sugar Tits 3 times, they appear behind you.
Don't say that. There are a lot of people doing that. It sounds like there's no downside.
It's like
speaking of Blackmore's Tights, did you see that video of Ritchie? So they just got back out there a couple nights ago, played 2 Blackmore's night shows, and did Soldier of Fortune. And Ritchie told that story about David Coverdale.
No, I think I missed that.
You missed it. Well, you know what? We got a shorter episode this week. Maybe you want to take a listen to it.
All right. See
Ritchie on stage telling a funny story about David Coverdale, and then doing Soldier of Fortune.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. Since we have a shorter episode. By the time this comes out, it'll be like a month old, but hey, it's the way we do things. Let's check it out.
Well, I mean, if you have some people that are like
what a fantastic performer.
oblivious as me.
Yeah, back from the Deep Purple days, and what? Tell you the history of David Coverdale? Don't you know that better than me? The latest history. I don't know what you're talking about.
He's now putting a band out.
Richie's here.
That's one idea.
Richie.
It's a very short mic on the stage. He said that's Ronnie Dio's mic.
Okay, so you know what? As a matter of
Richie's
fact,
going to take the microphone, which very rarely happens at a show.
Hello. I tend to fake an English accent when I speak. So just go with it.
Okay.
I've been drinking.
No.
David Coverdale apparently has put together a band called Whitesnake now, but he's not going out. He's going to be the promoter. He sends them out with his songs, but he's not going out. He's retired.
Wow. That's weird.
Which I think I'm going to do that.
No.
Bad idea.
Well, there's your answer. I would like to talk about David Coverdale for the rest of the night. This guy, when we first met him, he had that voice. We put him into Purple, and he got everything he deserved. He's a nice guy. I did have a fight with him one time. Shall I go on and talking?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I did have a fight with him because he kept putting down Rainbow at the time, and then he turned up at the show, so I started fighting him. And believe it or not, this is very true. Cozy came up to me and said, he said the show that we just done as Rainbow was a load of crap. So I'd been drinking. And I went after him. And then we're both fighting on the floor because I didn't want him in the auditorium. But we were at the feet of Brian May and the drummer of Queen, who would not look at us. They were just like, we see nothing, and we don't know quite what's happening here. But we were actually fighting each other. We were fighting. And Dave's one of those guys that you can have a fight with him, and then you become friends. So we did. And now I get an email every day saying how the trees are where he lives, and things that are very strange. But he's a great singer. And shall I go on for half an hour?
Yes.
Good story.
I will hand you back to the fair one. Thank you.
Good story. Good story.
I thought that was a fun little story that he tells.
That was fun.
Which if you've seen that documentary, I think we might have done it on here a couple years ago, which was it was David Coverdale telling the same story from his point of view.
Yeah.
But I love Ritchie's stories are great. The way that he tells them, and you just never know what's true and what he's making up and what he's just trying to see if he can float by you. But
Yeah.
Great stuff. Yeah, always enjoy him poking fun at he's like, apparently he's formed a band called White Snake. It's like 45 years old.
Well, I feel like he was talking about Coverdale's plans for what he's going to do when he retires.
Yeah,
he's
he
just
did
going to
that.
send it. He's going to send it out as a brand. So
Right. Which is interesting,
Which, I mean, honestly, I think there are a lot more bands like that from that era that are thinking of doing that. I think he's the first one that I can think of that has talked about actually doing that, because when you hear about bands that have like 2, 1, or even 0 of the original members, then that's basically what they're doing is just like touring under the name, like under the company or the business or whatever. So if you go see David Coverdale's Whitesnake, or just Whitesnake with Coverdale still owning it, then it would be like things we've talked about, like the Beatles or the Elvis tribute acts or shows that have been put together over the years.
But yeah,
where
it's
it becomes more
interesting
of
that
a
it's actually a
production,
continuation, though. It's like it's not just like, oh, we've set this up. It's like you could have 2 years from now, you could have Dino on lead vocals, and like Tommy Aldridge is still there, and Reb and Joel are
Right.
still there, so it's like interesting that there's actually like a continuity, not just we're forming this really good tribute act, even if it's sanctioned. But look
Right.
at their in Europe, I think they're playing with Foreigner, who has no original members. So it's an
Right,
interesting
right.
era. And yeah, I mean, I no issues with it. I mean, why not?
Yeah, I mean, as we get older, I mean, I could see in like another, like, I don't know, say like 10 years, if like, Whitesnake came back and we're just like, oh, like you said, it's a bunch of those, like a bunch of people that we recognized, and then like, some new, like a new guy up front or something. It's like, yeah, let's go here still the night and see Tommy Aldridge never age. It's like, it's just like, it's a night out, whatever. So it's
Well, I guess the tricky part is, does it just become a legacy act, or are they actually going to write and record new music? Because that
I've
sounds
heard-
hard. Like, how do you do that without Coverdale? Or does he
Well, I
write
mean-
this? Is he still writing but not performing?
Well, somebody had asked him that question. I had heard in an interview when he was floating that idea, and I can't remember. I feel like Coverdale being himself, he said yes. Like he would would he still be like a recording artist? Would he still like record albums, or like under Whitesnake or Coverdale, or record with other artists or whatever, but just not tour, or maybe show up at like a one-off show type of thing? And the answer that guys like that always give is just, oh yeah, anything's possible. So I mean, who knows? You never know. I mean, it depends on their age too. I mean, it's just like, there was that whole I mean, at their age, I mean, do you really, how much work do you really want to be putting in? I mean, I'm sure that you saw the now infamous video from Hartford, Connecticut, of Gene Simmons doing a sound check in his bathrobe.
I did.
Which,
Oh,
I mean,
it was just a soundtrack.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well, I mean, if it's a
what
sound
was
check,
a
who cares?
full-on show? That would have actually been even funnier. But no, he came out in his bathrobe, and you had like a handful of people that are just like, oh, terrible. And but any real Kiss fan is like, oh, that's hilarious. That's so Gene, like anybody that paid the extra $200 to go to the sound check, which actually sounds kind of reasonable if you think about it.
I mean, what the hell do they expect? They expect him to get
Got
in
a
all that freaking makeup 3 hours early, or sometimes probably 5-6 hours early to do a sound check. Like, I mean, what do you? I mean, it's funny that it was a bathrobe. He could have worn he could have just come out in a jogging suit or something. But the fact that it's a
Right.
bathrobe is kind of funny.
But even so, I mean, if you see Paul, I mean, Paul was all dressed up. He had on like his jeans and like, a button-up shirt and his Pumas and everything. And, he was like, street clothes.
Yep.
You weren't expecting him to show up like he just came from the friggin' spa or something. But it was like, but I mean, that's what you get these days. I mean, it's just like, I'm thinking about the first thing that I thought to myself is like, yeah, I mean, in like a couple of hours, I mean, he's probably got to like put on those boots and all that stuff. And he's got to like, really exert himself at his age. It's like, I wouldn't want to fucking get dressed either. Screw you people.
I mean, God, I feel like that now. When I had to put, I had to
And
put
you're
my
not even a
shoe-
rock.
I
You're
had
not
to
a
like
rock
move some
star.
sprinklers around earlier, and I was like, I'm gonna put my shoes on and tie them. I was so mad. I was like, I don't want to do it. I was looking around for sand. I probably spent 10 minutes looking for sandals so that I wouldn't have to tie my shoes. Like that's how bad I didn't want to do it. So yeah, it's a mess. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's an exciting new era. When you mentioned that video floating around, I thought you were gonna be talking about the Bon Jovi video.
Oh God, that
one was pretty depressing.
Yeah, that's kind of rough.
You hear people talking about people losing the voice and everything, but Bon Jovi, I don't bless him. I hope he's okay, but it's not a pretty thing to behold. It's never quite heard anything quite like that.
Well, I mean, when it comes to these things, sometimes too, a lot of people point out that, sometimes the business or the machine as it is just so big that you have to go on. Like, he like, what I mean? He might not have a choice. I mean, it's like these shows look pretty like big. I mean, you're not looking at like a small scale type of show. Like these look like arena shows still. And there are a lot of people there and it looks like a big presentation. Who knows how like contracts and how long out he's booked them and stuff. I mean, it's like he's like, well, all right, I'm not backing out of this, or I can't back out of this.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And I mean, so yeah, but anyways, that's yeah, it's interesting, it's like it really makes you appreciate on the other end of the spectrum the recent Deep Purple videos that came out where we heard Gillan sounding better than ever.
Yeah, he sounded better than he's sounded in a long time. He sounds fantastic.
I think he sounded better than when we saw him.
Yeah, no,
we thought he sounded pretty damn great.
Yeah,
like February,
3 months ago, and yeah, he's just really yeah, I mean, I think the way that he takes care of himself and everything, he could have some nights that are better than others, and depending on some environmental factors and every other thing, I'm sure now he's probably doing 10 times more now to take care of his voice than he ever did 50 years ago. And as far as like being careful what he eats and how much he's using his voice, and staying clear of meet and greets, and not trying to catch any, even before COVID, he stopped doing meet and greets because from what I heard, he just couldn't afford to get sick. Like Roger Glover gets a cold, he can go on stage and play bass. Ian Gillan gets a cold, that's going to sink him. He's not gonna be able to sing. So so yeah, I think he's probably just being extra careful. He's probably doing warm-ups, he's probably doing all sorts of stuff, and whatever it is, it's paying off. I mean, if he's got like a professional vocal person to take care of him, then he's probably doing all sorts of things.
I like to think that he has one of those things like, you ever see like the opera singers where they have that thing where they go they spray this stuff in their mouth, that old fashioned perfume bottle before he goes on stage. It's like me.
Well, they have those like those little like straws that you breathe into, and it like bubbles, and it's supposed to like regulate your breathing and stuff like that. Like people get pretty serious about that sort of stuff. But Gillan, like we've heard with Hughes and with Dio, was never somebody to really be a warm-up sort of guy. But I mean,
yeah,
he's gonna be 77 in a couple months. You kind of have to be. He has to be doing something a little different. You can't just.
But he's
you can't just wing it into your 80s.
a perfect example of somebody that has adjusted, like kind of modified the way that he is singing, and still sounds great, because he's still like, some of the songs you close your eyes and you swear that you're hearing him like 30 years ago, but it's like you also know that he's not throwing in a lot of those like high vocals. And even when he does, it's like you're kind of forgiving of it, because you're like, okay, I'm seeing like late 70s Gillan, like still going like, you know, screaming a little bit, you know. It's like not to the way that he used to, but I mean, he's up there being like, hey bitches, I can still do it. So, and you know, good for him. You know, I'm glad, I'm so glad. And but I mean, you think too that he's had like, you know, a few months too since he initially went out, that they're probably like on a roll now, which is, you know, one of the reasons they sound better, because the shows that we saw were the first couple.
Yep.
So now it's like,
oh yeah,
they're probably a little more like seasoned, you know, after like, you know, now it's like 3-4 months later. So now they're back in the swing of things. So awesome to see.
Absolutely. Well, I guess that's all we got for this week, folks.
Yeah.
Shorter episode, giving some time back to you to do whatever chores you have to do and things you have to go about in your normal life. But fun to revisit Mark 1, revisit
Always.
the future here. Went 50 plus years in the future to talk about what's happening now, and we will be at you next week with yet another exciting episode of the Deep Purple Podcast.
Can't wait.
All right. Talk to you later.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to the Deep Purple Podcast. If you like what you hear and would like more episodes in the future, please donate on Patreon to support the show. You can also leave us a review in Apple Podcasts to help new people discover the show. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for show updates. See deeppurplepodcast.com for more details. Thank you for listening.